Keanu Reeves was known for his humility and generosity, traits that set him apart from the usual glitz and glamour of Hollywood. But what many didn't know was the quiet way in which he supported causes he cared deeply about. One such cause was a small charity orphanage called Haven Home, located on the outskirts of Los Angeles. Keanu had been a silent benefactor for years, contributing funds through anonymous donations. However, on one brisk autumn morning, something compelled him to visit the orphanage in person. Dressed in his signature understated style, a black jacket, jeans, and a simple cap, Keanu hoped to keep the visit low-key. He pulled up to the orphanage in a modest car, trying to avoid drawing attention. The building was modest but well kept, its faded paint a testament to the years it had spent housing countless children. The sounds of laughter and activity drifted through the air, mingling with the rustle of leaves in the gentle breeze. Keanu knocked on the front door, and it was opened by Ms. Clara, the head mistress of Haven Home. She was a middle-aged woman with a kind face and sharp eyes that softened when she looked at the children. "Good morning, I'm Keanu," he introduced himself, extending a hand. "I wanted to stop by and see how things are here. Maybe lend a hand if I can." Ms. Clara hesitated for a moment, clearly puzzled by the unexpected visitor. It wasn't often that strangers offered to help without an agenda. "Well, we're always happy for extra hands," she replied with a warm smile. Stepping inside, Keanu was greeted by a lively scene. The main hall was buzzing with activity. Some children were coloring, others were playing games, while a few older ones sat at outdated computers trying to do their homework. The walls were lined with brightly colored drawings, many of them depicting smiling suns and homes surrounded by stick figure families. Keanu took his time walking through the hall, observing the children. Despite the cheerful energy, he noticed subtle signs of struggle. The computers were ancient, the furniture mismatched and worn, and there was an unmistakable sense of frugality in how resources were being stretched. As he moved through the room, a small boy sitting in the corner caught his attention. The child, around 8 years old, was tinkering with what appeared to be a broken toy robot. He was intensely focused, using a screwdriver far too large for his small hands. Intrigued, Keanu walked over and knelt down. "Hey there, what are you working on?" Keanu asked gently. The boy looked up, startled but polite. "It's a robot. It doesn't work anymore, but I think I can fix it." Keanu smiled. "You're pretty handy. Do you like building things?" The boy nodded, his face lighting up for the first time. "I want to be an engineer someday. My mom used to say I could fix anything." Keanu's smile faded slightly at the mention of the boy's mother. He wanted to ask more but decided against pressing. "What's your name?" "Liam," the boy replied, turning back to his robot. Keanu spent the next hour with Liam, helping him tinker with the toy. He learned that Liam was exceptionally bright, with a natural talent for mechanics. Despite having few tools and almost no guidance, he had managed to build small contraptions out of discarded materials. After helping Liam, Keanu joined the other children in their activities. He played board games, helped a young girl with her math homework, and even participated in an impromptu storytelling session. The kids were thrilled to have an attentive adult who genuinely cared about their stories and dreams. But as the day wore on, Keanu's observant nature picked up on the deeper struggles of Haven Home. The orphanage was clearly underfunded. Some children's clothes were worn and ill-fitting. The toys were either broken or outdated, and the meals being prepared in the kitchen looked far from sufficient to nourish growing kids. Before leaving, Keanu found Ms. Clara in her small, cluttered office. "You're doing incredible work here," he said, "but I can see it's not easy." Ms. Clara sighed. "We do what we can with what we have. The children deserve so much more, but donations have been dwindling. Every day is a challenge." Keanu nodded, his mind already racing. As he stepped outside, Liam ran up to him, holding a folded piece of paper. "This is for you," the boy said shyly. Keanu unfolded it to find a child's drawing of himself surrounded by the kids, with "Thank you" written in large, uneven letters. His throat tightened as he crouched to Liam's level. "This is the best gift I've ever received. Thank you, Liam." As Keanu drove away, he couldn't shake the image of the children's eager faces and the immense potential they held. He'd gone to the orphanage expecting to give a few hours of his time, but he left feeling a deep responsibility to do more. This wasn't just a fleeting moment of charity. Keanu knew he had to take action, and he had to do. The visit to Haven Home stayed with Keanu long after he left. That evening, sitting in the quiet of his modest living room, he couldn't focus on anything else. The children's faces, their laughter, their stories, all of it played on a loop in his mind. But it wasn't just the joy he remembered. It was the undercurrent of struggle. The worn furniture, the outdated equipment, the under-resourced meals. These were symptoms of a system failing its most vulnerable. Keanu had always believed in using his privilege for good, but this felt different. It wasn't just about writing a check. It was about creating something sustainable, something transformative. With this in mind, he opened his laptop and began researching. He combed through pages of information on funding resources, educational initiatives, and sustainable charity models. The next morning, Keanu made some calls. He reached out to close friends and colleagues, many of whom shared his passion for philanthropy. Among them was an old friend, Sandra, who had worked extensively with nonprofits. When he explained the situation at Haven Home, Sandra immediately offered to help. "That place has so much potential," Keanu said over the phone. "The kids are incredible. They just need the right tools and opportunities." Sandra agreed. "Let's start by assessing their needs. From there, we can figure out how to provide the resources they're missing." Within days, Keanu and Sandra assembled a small team of experts, educators, social workers, and financial planners, who were eager to help. They visited Haven Home to conduct a thorough assessment. Keanu returned, this time with far less anonymity. When Miss Clara saw him, her face lit up with surprise and gratitude. "You're back," she exclaimed. "I wasn't expecting this." "I couldn't stop thinking about this place," Keanu admitted. "I brought some friends who can help." The team spent the day speaking with the staff and children, examining the facilities, and creating a list of priorities. It became clear that while the orphanage had a strong foundation of care and love, it lacked the resources to fully nurture the children's potential. One of the key issues was education. While the staff did their best, the children needed access to better learning materials, skilled tutors, and extracurricular activities to develop their talents. Liam's story was a perfect example. A brilliant young boy with the mind of an engineer, but no tools or guidance to cultivate his skills. Keanu sat with Liam again during the visit. This time he brought a small toolbox and a beginner's robotics kit. "I thought you might like this," Keanu said, handing it to the boy. Liam's eyes widened with disbelief. "For me?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. "For you," Keanu confirmed. "I can't wait to see what you build with it." As Liam hugged the box tightly, Keanu felt a profound sense of fulfillment. This was just the beginning. After the assessment, Keanu's team got to work. They began drafting a comprehensive plan to revitalize Haven Home. The first step was securing funding. Keanu reached out to his network in the entertainment industry, sharing his experience at the orphanage and his vision for its future. Many were moved by his passion and pledged substantial donations. At the same time, Keanu partnered with local businesses to provide supplies, technology, and services to the orphanage. A tech company donated new computers and learning software. A nearby construction firm offered to renovate the building, updating everything from the plumbing to the furniture. One day, as the renovations began, Keanu returned to Haven Home to check on the progress. The children greeted him like an old friend, running up to show him their latest drawings, crafts, and projects. "Look what I made," Liam exclaimed, holding up a small robotic arm he had built with his new kit. Keanu examined it with genuine awe. "This is amazing, Liam. You're a natural." Liam beamed with pride, his confidence growing with every word of encouragement. But Keanu wasn't just focused on material improvements. He wanted the children to dream bigger. He arranged for a series of workshops and mentorship programs, inviting professionals from various fields to speak with the kids. Actors, engineers, artists, and scientists all shared their stories, inspiring the children to believe in their potential. Ms. Clara watched all of this unfold with tears in her eyes. "I've dreamed of this for so long," she told Keanu one afternoon, "but I never thought it would happen." Keanu placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "You've been the heart of this place. We're just giving you the tools to keep it beating strong." The transformation of Haven Home was well underway, but Keanu knew there was still more to do. As the weeks passed, he grew closer to the children, learning their individual stories and dreams. Each visit strengthened his resolve to create a lasting impact. The transformation at Haven Home had begun to ripple outward, touching not only the lives of the children, but the community around them. The story of Keanu Reeves' involvement spread like wildfire. Local news outlets picked up on the renovations, the mentorship programs, and the incredible generosity that was pouring into the orphanage. Suddenly, people who had never given Haven Home a second thought were stepping up to offer their support. Ms. Clara, overwhelmed by the influx of attention, sat down with Keanu one afternoon. "I don't know how to thank you," she said, her voice thick with emotion. "You've turned a small spark of hope into a blazing fire." Keanu shook his head humbly. "This isn't about me, Ms. Clara. You've kept this place running for years with nothing but sheer determination. I'm just giving back what you've always deserved." But Keanu's vision didn't stop with the orphanage itself. He began to think bigger. What if Haven Home could become a model for other orphanages across the country? What if the love and care he had witnessed here could be replicated in places where children were still struggling in silence? To make this dream a reality, Keanu partnered with a nonprofit organization that specialized in creating scalable solutions for underserved communities. Together, they developed a blueprint for a Haven network, a program designed to provide resources, training, and support to orphanages nationwide. The blueprint emphasized three pillars: education, emotional well-being, and community integration. Each orphanage in the network would have access to state-of-the-art learning tools, mental health support, and partnerships with local businesses and volunteers. Keanu personally funded the pilot program, ensuring that Haven Home would serve as the flagship location. As the renovations neared completion, Keanu decided to organize a grand reopening event. The idea was to celebrate the progress made and to shine a spotlight on the importance of supporting vulnerable children. Invitations were sent to community leaders, donors, and even a few of Keanu's celebrity friends. The day of the event was nothing short of magical. The orphanage, now vibrant and welcoming, was filled with laughter and music. The children, dressed in their Sunday best, eagerly showed off their new classrooms, playground, and art studio. Liam proudly demonstrated his latest invention, a small robot that could carry tiny objects across a table. Keanu couldn't help but smile as he watched Liam explain the mechanics to a group of intrigued guests. It was a moment that encapsulated everything he had hoped to achieve. During the event, Keanu took the stage to deliver a heartfelt speech. "Haven Home is more than just a building," he began. "It's a symbol of what can happen when a community comes together. These children are our future, and it's our responsibility to nurture their potential." He paused, his voice thick with emotion. "I want to thank everyone who made this possible, but most of all, I want to thank the children of Haven Home. You've inspired me more than I can put into words. This is just the beginning." As the crowd erupted into applause, Ms. Clara wiped tears from her eyes. She turned to Sandra, who had been instrumental in organizing the event. "I've never seen anything like this," Ms. Clara whispered. "It's like a dream come true." Sandra smiled. "It's a dream you've been building for years, Ms. Clara. We're just here to help you finish it." In the weeks following the grand reopening, the impact of Keanu's efforts became increasingly evident. The children thrived in their new environment, their confidence and creativity blossoming. Liam, once a shy boy with a love for tinkering, began leading workshops for his peers, sharing his knowledge and passion for engineering. The Haven Network also gained momentum. With Keanu's endorsement and the success of the pilot program, other orphanages began adopting the model. The blueprint was tweaked and refined with each new location, ensuring that the unique needs of every community were met. One afternoon, as Keanu visited Haven Home for what had become a weekly tradition, Liam approached him with a shy smile. "Mr. Keanu," he said, holding out a small object, "I made this for you." Keanu took the gift, a tiny robot crafted with remarkable precision, and examined it with awe. "This is incredible, Liam. Thank you." "It's my way of saying thanks," Liam said. "You believed in me when no one else did." Keanu knelt down to meet Liam's eyes. "I didn't give you anything you didn't already have. All I did was help you see it." As Liam hugged him tightly, Keanu felt a profound sense of purpose. This wasn't just about charity, it was about creating a legacy of kindness and opportunity that would outlive him. Haven Home had become more than an orphanage. It was a beacon of hope, And as Keanu looked around at the children laughing and playing, he knew one thing for, as weeks turned into months, Haven Home blossomed into a sanctuary, not just for the children, but for the entire community. The changes that had been set in motion were now in full swing, and the once-forgotten orphanage stood as a beacon of hope and transformation. Keanu's vision of the Haven Network began to take shape, with other orphanages across the state reaching out to replicate the model. One day, Keanu visited Haven Home for what Ms. Clara had described as a special surprise. As he walked through the gates, he was greeted by a chorus of children yelling, "Thank you, Mr. Keanu!" The children had painted a mural on the side of the main building, a vibrant artwork depicting their dreams and aspirations. At the center was an image of Keanu, standing among them, surrounded by symbols of hope, books, flowers, and the shining sun. Keanu was visibly moved. "You didn't have to do this," he said softly, his voice catching in his throat. "We wanted to," Liam said, stepping forward as the unofficial leader of the group. "Because you believed in us when nobody else did." Ms. Clara approached with a warm smile. "This is their way of showing their gratitude," she said. "But there's something else you should see." She led Keanu to the newly constructed workshop. Inside, Liam and a few other children had set up their own little invention lab, funded by the donations that had poured in after the grand reopening event. Keanu's heart swelled with pride as he saw the children experimenting, learning, and building together. "This is just the beginning," Keanu said, addressing the children. "One day, you'll grow up and take these skills out into the world. You'll make it a better place, not just for yourselves, but for everyone." But the surprises weren't over yet. At the back of the workshop was a plaque mounted on the wall. It read, "The Reeves Innovation Lab, a place for dreamers to create." Keanu ran his fingers over the engraved letters, overcome with emotion. "I don't know what to say," he whispered. "You've already said it," Ms. Clara replied, "through your actions." As the months went by, the Haven Network expanded beyond anyone's expectations. Keanu, though still a regular presence at Haven Home, took on an advisory role for the network. He ensured that every orphanage under its umbrella upheld the same principles of compassion, education, and opportunity. One day, years later, Keanu returned to Haven Home for a quieter visit. He walked through the halls, now filled with laughter and joy, and found himself drawn to the mural. He studied it, reflecting on how far they had all come. "Mr. Keanu," a voice called. He turned to see Liam, now a young adult, standing there with a smile. "I wanted to thank you again," Liam said. "I wouldn't be where I am today without you." Keanu smiled warmly. "You would have gotten here on your own, Liam. All I did was light the path." Liam nodded but didn't argue. "Well, I still wanted you to know. I've been accepted into an engineering program, and I'm going to start working on projects that help people, just like you helped me." Keanu felt a swell of pride. "That's incredible, Liam. I'm so proud of you." As Keanu walked out of Haven Home that day, he felt a deep sense of fulfillment. His journey with Haven Home and the children had taught him that kindness could create ripples that extended far beyond what the eye could see. The orphanage that once stood as a forgotten building was now a symbol of change, a testament to what could be achieved with compassion and determination. And though Keanu's role in its story had come to an end, the legacy of Haven Home and the lives it touched would carry on. It was a reminder that even the smallest acts of kindness could lead to something extraordinary.